Today we're going to talk about your events and why they're being scammed. How's everybody doing? This is your host, Primo. This is a topic I never really talk about, and I think most of the reason is because it really doesn't come up in my day-to-day life, but there's a lot of places that I do promote events. I run events. I want to make sure that people who are my friends that want to bring out, especially supercars to events, don't get scammed, hacked, whatever you want to call it today. And I'm seeing this literally prevalent everywhere, and nobody's really given an answer for what's happening, what to do, how to handle it, that kind of thing. So I figured I'd take this minute to do something I don't usually do, which is actually talk about my event side of things and kind of help people to say, you know, this works for anybody. If you run an event or if you like attending events, then this is something I can go over with you and say, hey, don't be a victim anymore. And this is how it works. So let's get right into it. The first thing that I tell people is there are event pages that go on different social media sites. And what happens is a scammer see these sites. They see them as easy targets, and what they'll do is they'll comment, just like the same way you'd see in the comment section is somebody would say, hey, if you need any help or you've been, whatever, you can email me and then we'll get all the information. Well, of course, those aren't real. None of us here would ever say contact us in the description below. We have better ways of getting in touch with people. But when it comes to events, it's a little bit harder because the intention is to say, I want to go to this event. How do I get there? And a scammer can be a lot more proactive and respond into each comment or into a discussion area. So what's happening is people, and I know this sounds crazy, and for those of you who have done it before, don't feel bad about it. There's a lot of people that have fallen for it. The idea is they do this stuff because it works, but people email or DM this person that's messaging them, especially on events that they don't know about, and they'll say, yeah, what do I want to do? And the person will say, hey, yeah, we're doing this event registration. Here's how to send me money, Bitcoin, whatever, different areas. No, it's never going to be something that's insured or trackable, something of that nature. And the person will register for the event, show up to the event, say, well, I paid. They didn't really pay. They paid a scammer, and that's where they're at. So I've seen actually way worse things happen, and there's a lot of paths that can go to, but the goal today is obviously to get people who are running events now to get aware of this stuff and understand that it is going to happen on every post that you make now. This is the new way of life. The first thing that we need to understand is if you're an event runner right now and you post something that's event page, event post, or whatever, make sure, number one, that you're advertising it correctly. So who is your target market? What kind of cars are coming? Make sure that you are targeting the right area. So a lot of times I'll see events that I'm in the East Coast and I'll see events from the West Coast. I'm not making it to that event, especially since you posted it 3 days ago. So there's a lot more planning. So if you're doing anything with promoting events or any kind of posting, make sure that you're zoning in who you're marketing to, because if you're marketing to the wrong people, you could end up marketing to somebody who is in a place that allows scamming. Now you're right up on their radar. So the first thing that you need to know is just be vigilant. If you're going to open up the discussion area and have it there, make sure that you're going into that area and seeing who's posting on your event. If you've put anything up, you need to be more vigilant. A lot of these lower grade shows, if you will, or I want to say smaller run events, like the stuff that we do doesn't take a lot of people to run them. So we can be very vigilant. We can see all the posts. We can go through each of the comments. I can do it daily. I can have people report to me. Yeah, I know what's going on at those events, and everybody that usually attends them is a friend of mine. So I know when something's happening, I can quickly go in and take care of it. But if you're a bigger event, and I see a lot of this with events that are just really putting the stuff out there and using it as a marketing tool, there may be a little bit of loss between you and what's going on. So you need to be vigilant of that comment area and say, okay, somebody is going to be posting in here, and it's not just going to be the main post. It's going to be in the comment threads. It's going to be in these smaller areas where they can be hidden, and somebody's going to be trying to take my space, and you have to make sure that you're ahead of those and know that they're there. So that really is it. Be vigilant to what's going on in your show if you post something up. The next thing that I need to tell people about is people are faking events. So I know it seems really weird and not a lot of people know about this, but if you post up an event and it's a public event, there's a good chance that a scammer or somebody like of that nature, or someone who does not mean to do good things to the people that attend the event, will actually make a new event page, pretend it's their event, and invite the people from the other event. Now, this isn't happening as much right now, but it is happening. And if it is happening, you need to be aware of it. If anybody is saying, hey, your event page over here says a different date, don't dismiss it. Go find it, look it up, and this is the point where you need to report those events and really get ahead of them, because you need to let your members know. You're going to get a lot more active with it, and there's going to be bigger steps that you need to take, and that could be very involved. So we hope that that doesn't happen a lot, but we do want to know that, let people know that it is happening. So obviously the fix to this is pretty much the first thing is realizing it's going to happen. So just coming to terms with it. And the next thing is really caring about the people that are going to your event. If you're using this as some passive way to promote things, then you're not going to get the attention you need. You might want to just turn off the comments in general. So if you have no intentions of putting in the work that it takes to run an event, put a discussion area, just turn it off and make sure that the only people that can comment there are going to be your people. And I know a lot of people would say, hey, just report those posts. Well, we've reported hundreds, maybe thousands of posts, and there have been nothing done on any of these social media platforms. The reason is because these people will use one thing to hook somebody, and then they'll send them someplace else, and that someplace else is where they're doing all the work, so that the first account actually to them looks legitimate. I don't think it's right. I don't agree with what, especially Facebook. You know better. You know that people are scamming. Take the necessary action to go out and say, if somebody reports something, you know that they're not a part of the event. They're not even showing as going to the event, but they're asking people to contact for registrations. It doesn't make sense. So Facebook, do your due diligence, but if you're running an event, you can't count on these big platforms to help you out at all. They will just leave you to drown. That's just how it's going to be. So what I see most people trying to do is trying to remove the posts in general and block the users. And yes, this can be done, but remember that this is going to be a lot of work. It is going to be going from every comment, every piece, every day. I've seen some with 2 or 3 different posts where somebody said the first person was asking for registrations. The second said, PM me if you have any questions. You can end up getting 2 or 3 of these. So if you have a big event, you have thousands of people going, this could be a little bit exasperating, and you might want to get somebody that's knows what's going on, who can sit there and kind of police it, or tell people that you put up a post and tag it and say, if you see this, let us know. We'll take it down. But otherwise, you're just going to have to put in the work yourself. The second option is one that I don't actually like, and I hate doing it. But again, we said it before, if you're a big brand and you really aren't going to be spending a lot of time in your discussion area, let's say you're a smaller group, but you run a busy shop and you don't have time to police this, and your crew doesn't care either. So they're just, hey, it happens. All right. But they're leaving it there and opening up people to these scamming opportunities. Here's the trick. Turn off the discussion area. Make sure that the discussion area is only available to people who are actually running the event and people who are co-hosting. So use that co-host area. That's a great area to say, hey, I'm not going to let people post, but here's a co-host. They can post. They can put something out. But remember that even if they post, they can get responses that would be in those areas. And if they see something, they're going to have to immediately block the account and delete whatever it is that's there. And I would suggest deleting it, blocking him, and there's an option to say block any future accounts that come available to it. Take all that, just who cares if it's from that area. If so, yeah, you lost some people. I really doubt it, because most of the times it's just because somebody's advertised to a certain area, or a certain area that can scam has seen it, and you don't want access to that area anyway. So you're not really losing anybody by saying, hey, any accounts that future come from this weird IP in Nigeria, Hey, we lost it. Bummer. Oh, well. But I'm going to say best practice here, and this is for my own personal thing. It does not work for everybody, but it's making the event private. Now, this used to be a big thing back in the day with groups. People wanted to do events. They wanted them to be public, but they ended up posting them in a group that was private, and then they try to share it out as that was the group was running the event. And they try to post out and share people, and it said content unavailable or you couldn't see it. That was problematic for people. I get it. Now it's actually going to work in our favor. If the event is private and nobody but the people who are invited to that event can see it, that puts you in an interesting little area where those people that usually you don't want having access to that event page no longer have access to that event page. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there that you may not want involved in your event. It's a win-win. So you kind of get rid of some of the scammers and hackers, and you get rid of some of the trolls while you're at it. So there's no negative there. I would use that as an option. Also, one thing about doing events, especially if they can be invited or especially on platforms like Facebook, you can open up that invite area to allow other people to invite other people in a cool way of doing kind of a word of mouth thing like we used to do. Hey, if you like this event, make sure you share it to your friends and make sure that the people that they're sharing it to is not some global thing within their invite list. Make sure they target people and say, hey, I don't want everybody showing up. This is not some big thing. I only want certain people to show up. So make sure that your choice about who you invite to an event, and that's going to improve the quality of your event overall. Then when you actually advertise the event, advertise it as a page. So it's something like a flyer so that the people who just want to show up and show up their cars, they don't have a good area to discuss anything. It's just an event flyer, but it's still something that can be shared. It's still something that allows the public to show up, and it still allows you to meet all your goals without worrying about somebody messaging your friend and stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from them by hacking their bank account. And again, that goes doubly for group pages. You got a group, you want to limit it to the group, that's the best way to do it. There's a lot of events out there that happen that people don't know about, and I know that makes it very difficult for people, but it also makes your event choice. People who are told, hey, you got to find this event, you got to be approved to come to it, it does bring some special level of wanting to attend an event. Hey, I actually made it in. Good for me. Those are going to be positive things that go to events. That's why I like doing supercar events so much, is because when you do an event like this, there's a certain expectation that anytime that I have somebody, it's going to be, oh, you sign in for the event. You don't put it here. You send it directly to me. The event is listed privately. It only goes to certain people. People ask me if they can share an event, and I'll even ask, who are you sharing it to? And making sure that every event attendee is going to get the same level of quality that they did from any other event. And I noticed that I don't have any of the scammers. I don't have any of the people that are trying to fish for different information. It just becomes a tighter show. And I know that's difficult for especially like a hot rod or a muscle car show, but it's something you can figure out, and it's not as hard as you think. So here's the thing. I know it's easy to say, we just used to just put flyers out and throw them in cars, or, just get people involved with things. I know it's a little bit harder now. You're going to have to put in some work. You know what? Let's be honest. You should have been putting in that work from the very beginning, but now's your time to learn. But don't learn by having a person come to your show, because it's not a pretty scene. If somebody shows up to your show and says, hey, by the way, I registered for your show, I paid the $50 to get into the show, which is $30 more than you were asking, and I didn't get my ticket for here, but I'm showing up because I want to attend, and then you've realized that person was scammed. And it doesn't feel good. It's not a good process. And the thing is, thankfully it's never happened to me. It's never happened in my shows. But I do know that at some point in the future, I know it happens at other shows, but I know at some point in the future it's going to happen more and more. And I just want to make sure that everybody, both the event coordinators, the people who are attending, the sponsors who put all their love and effort into these shows, I just want to make sure that community as a whole, even if it's not a supercar show, that they all have a great event and that they love what we're doing. And if they love it, they're going to keep having more. So I hope you liked the video. It's just going to be a short one today that kind of goes over some of this stuff, and I hope that you guys can learn some things from it. I hope you have a better show experience. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, we have some apparel over here. If you want to thank us for the hard work that we put in and all the research that we do, pick up a t-shirt, pick up an apparel item, pick out some of the stuff that we suggest from other brands that over on our affiliate links, that just anything that would help you make you look great for your next show and make you smell good, because there's some perfumes and some colognes in there too. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be talking about some other stuff, but until then, that'll be for the next video. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you then.